Jeff, are you economically viable?
At this stage of my life, I am fortunate enough to say that I do believe I am economically viable.
Well, I have no idea if I'm economically viable, but I can tell you who is not economically viable. That is William Foster, and he is pissed off about it. But he's also the subject of this episode of a film by featuring Joel Schumacher's Falling Down.
Just standing up for my rights as a consumer.
Welcome to the second episode of A Film By. I'm Brad Kozo.
And I am Jeff Johnson.
And we're talking about the 1993 film Falling Down.
Brad, tell me, what do you think Falling Down's about?
I think Falling Down, and I think later on we will go back to the title itself, is basically about a man who is just feels like he's been treated unfairly in life. And he finally snaps, he's going through personal things, and this is his attack basically on an establishment. He becomes a vigilante, and it's, his interpretation of how he sees the world.
That's interesting. See, and I definitely agree with you. I kind of feel like it's a great character study about a broken individual that in some ways evolves into almost an apex predator.
Yeah.
But at the same time devolves as a human, and the decisions he makes, the encounters that he has as he tries to get home, says a lot about just how far gone he is, I think.
When it all comes down to it, he just wants to be at his safe place. His safe sanctuary is at home. And he says it throughout the film, I just want to go home. He wants to be in his safe atmosphere where he knows that he's loved and taken care of, and he just can't get that. And, basically suffers a mental breakdown.
The interesting thing, though, is his safe place, as you call it, it's a fantasy. It doesn't exist.
Nope. When you hear the name Joel Schumacher, what kind of thoughts come up about his movies? Like, you see a movie and it comes out, and the first thing it says is a film by Joel Schumacher. Do you have any kind of expectations of what you might see? Because this guy's kind of a flip-flopper.
My expectation when I hear Joel Schumacher, I immediately think fun summer movie.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, The Lost Boys. I think, and you're absolutely right. He does have some amazing work. Some of his earlier films, St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
He did The Client, I think. Is that correct?
Yes,
yeah. He's definitely done some really great work, but I immediately think Joel Schumacher. Oh, we're gonna have a fun time.
Yeah. Well, what I think of he's great at crazy what if situations that a lot of people don't think of. When you think of, you go Lost Boys, vampires. Okay, that's one thing, but vampires by teenagers enjoying killing. Ooh, creepy. I mean, the synopsis for Flatliners. What would death be like? The Falling Down. What if a guy takes the thing in his own hand? I mean, he does a lot of great what ifs. And
he is a good what if director.
Yeah, he likes to throw out like someone says, what if, in a crazy situation. And I feel that Joel Schumacher would be like, I'm going to do a movie like that. I'm going to do an entire movie that takes place in a phone booth and call it Phone Booth.
What if?
Yeah.
What if? Yeah. What if the bat suit had nipples on it?
Yeah.
Call Joel Schumacher. Let's get him in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's a great what if director. Talk a little bit about Michael Douglas.
Yes.
At this point, up until '93, Douglas was kind of considered that leading man, very attractive, romantic, sexy. Um, After this film, he kind of feel like he left all that behind him. He went into a different phase of acting, starting with this film, and has continued on till present day.
I almost wonder if it happens but right before this film though. Douglas, and I think this was it's in several interviews that I got to hear with Michael Douglas. He feels that a lot of his earlier work, he's not the leading man. He is the leading male character in a lot of his things, but he claims that as a producer, that's his trade first and foremost before actor.
Yeah.
And which obviously he's done some great stuff as a producer. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, for example.
Yeah. He
But
never really had to act.
he never really did. He chose to act.
Yeah.
But he made a great comment that when he's looking at movies, he doesn't look at them as an actor. He looks at them as a producer and asks himself, will this be a good film? Can I make this a good film? So he's never really concerned with, ooh, this is a good role for me. Mm-hmm. So when you think about his role in Romancing the Stone, or possibly Basic Instinct, or
he's cool.
He's cool. He's cool.
Up until that, he's very cool.
He's cool, but what was that with Glenn Close?
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction, yeah. So when you think about some of his earlier work that he's well known for, he might be the male lead, but the female lead is the star of all those movies, and his character kind of reacts to those people in those situations. So he's kind of taken like the back seat in a way. And I don't think it's until he gets the Academy Award for Wall Street playing Gordon Gekko, where he truly gets what Douglas calls a showy role, which is something where you're like, hey, this is something I can really show off on. Mm-hmm. And he wanted more of that. So, I think that's one of the things that attracted him to Falling Down.
Yeah. And, well, he himself considers Falling Down his best performance out of all of his films.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. And his father, Spartacus himself, believes that this is the best performance of all of his films.
You never disagree with Spartacus?
No.
So I don't know. I'd have to think about everything that I've seen Douglas in. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking like I love him in The War of the Roses. I mean, kind of a psychopath in that to some extent, but again, a broken individual,
a taking chance type of role. It was War of the Roses. It was not a happy type of film. These are two terrible people, but he pulled it off great.
You're talking about divorce in that movie, which is just a terrible thing for any family to have to endure.
Yeah.
And War of the Roses is hilarious. It's just a fun. It's a fun dark comedy, I think.
Now, what I think was such a chance taker for him in this role. Now, I'm not going to say like all the people that were considered for the role, but the people they considered for the role were more like dead on. Dead on would be Jack Nicholson or Ed Harris, Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, definitely.
Oh, God.
That's very like, oh, well, yeah, we can see the angry guy. This was Jack T. Colton. This was Nick, the smooth cop from A Basic Instinct, turning into an angry man. And I think that is what, makes him such a odd but great choice for this.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's all about his look. Michael Douglas is very unassuming as a threat, and when you take that idea and then you put him in a pair of black slacks and a white button-down short sleeve shirt with the tie and the glasses and that military crew cut he's got.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he looks I wouldn't say he looks any more threatening than like that asshole science teacher you had in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Who just wouldn't let you get away with anything.
I mean, this film came out in 1993, and at that time I was 16 years old. But I knew when I saw the trailer to this that Michael Douglas is trying to do something different than he usually does.
Absolutely.
You know, it was like, okay, this guy's trying to do something a little edgy, and I respected that even then.
So, Brad, can we talk about the opening of this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
One thing that I just feel Joel Schumacher did expertly was these tight shots while he's in the car, while Foster, aka Defense,
mhm.
he's sitting in his car. It's definitely a shit box of a car.
Oh
And
yeah,
then you get these quick cuts of, like, the AC doesn't work. The window, trying to roll down the window, he can't get that. There's a menacing fly in the thing, and as he looks around, sitting in this shitty traffic, um, uh, you just feel the claustrophobia. You feel that trapped feeling
the
where,
anxiety.
yeah, the anxiety building up. You just want to get out, and looking around, I see again these like, almost like smash cuts where you're seeing some of these cliche bumper stickers on people's
Yeah,
cars.
yeah, all negative sayings.
Yeah, very cynical, very negative. It just paints a really good picture of, this is a terrible situation. Life is not working out the way I want it to.
Mhm.
This is not the American dream,
No.
And I think that, to know that he's already broken before this movie starts, and that idea of him snapping right from the get-go, I think it just sets the stage for a great film.
Well, I think even, and as I look through the film and the stages that he goes through, even when he gets out of the car, like he makes a decision like, okay, having a fly in your car stuck in traffic is one of the most annoying fucking things there possibly is. And at first he tries to swipe it, but then he makes the decision, I'm going to kill this fly. You are dead, fly. And he gets out of the car, but still he's not at the point of no return yet. He's just a guy I can't do the traffic anymore. He's not done anything really bad yet.
So Schumacher, he talks about the opening of the film on the commentary. If you pick up the Blu-ray disc and you get the audio commentary, he kind of talks about that desire to just leave your car, but he kind of gets off on a weird tangent about how your vehicle is kind of your identity, and for someone to just abandon their vehicle, which they're most likely paying for still, they're still in debt on, something that signifies who they are, kind of like their status, and for someone to just willingly give that up and walk away from it, he's basically saying, now you understand this guy is on a road that he cannot turn back from. He's already snapped, and this is just the beginning. So I thought it was kind of a weird thing that Schumacher talked about with the identity of the car. But when you think about someone doing that, they're giving up on the life that they actually had.
Yeah.
There's no going back.
I don't think that decision is very hard for him because, he says later on, this is a man that makes missiles for a living. He protects America from, enemies. And his reward is a piece of shit car that doesn't have any air conditioning.
Well, and more so, that was his identity. That's who he was.
Yeah.
Again, this character is economically viable at one point. He's a defense contractor. This is back in the Cold War era, and what he's doing matters. He's doing his part to protect America.
And when he feels he's doing the right thing. This
is a guy that he's played by the rules his whole life. He's done the right thing, and all of a sudden the Cold War ends, and he's not needed anymore.
Nope.
So he loses his job. He loses his family, and what's left? What's a man do when he feels that he's worked hard for the American dream, and to find that there's nothing there for him?
Yeah, and as you say, the car being an identity, I think leaving the car is his process of he very slowly peels layers of his old self off of him. By leaving the car, he's peeled the first layer.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier I used the term apex predator. And really, I mean, when you think about how he transitions throughout this film, the anxious, stress laden, guy's got a pocket protector in the shirt pocket of his shirt. And when he tries to make a call to his ex-wife, he doesn't even have the courage to say anything. He just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and for the people listening that haven't actually seen this film yet, I don't want to paint the wrong picture. We talked about how this guy, had a job making, he was a defense contractor for the United States, and he's trying to get the American dream, and father and husband and all this. I don't want to paint the picture that this is a guy that was a likable guy.
Oh no. No.
And I think right from the get-go, in this scene with the Korean grocer, you kind of understand that he's kind of an asshole. I mean, as much as I love his rampage through LA, I don't know. I feel like even there's even a little bit of racism in how he treats Michael Paul Chan's character with the whole you come to my country, you can't speak my language.
Yep.
My country has given your country how much money.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think that's one of the funniest moments in the entire movie. This isn't really a comedy, but when Mr. Kim says how much, that look on his face where he goes, I don't know, but it's probably a lot. That just goes to show, like, you've got those people out there that want to wage those kinds of arguments. Like, do you have any idea how this does this? And when you call them on their bullshit, and they're like, I don't know, actually, And
I think once he starts tearing up the store, he gets satisfaction out of it. He enjoys it.
He starts to grow right here. And a fun little thing about that, Chan and Douglas rehearsed the entire scene for quite some time. They spent a long amount of time on that day rehearsing it before Schumacher would even roll camera, because they had to do this in one take. According to Michael Paul Chan, because of the damage he does to this store, the idea of trying to set everything back up and put everything back in place, it was just gonna be too costly. So they worked it out. They, even like the struggle they have over the ball bat, all choreographed ahead of time. And Chan painted a really good picture of Douglas, and how Douglas kind of led the choreography and said, "Hey, let's do this the right way. Let's do it the safe way. Let's have some fun with it." And you could tell, like, it's an intense situation, but for two actors doing something like this, they had to have a good time.
Yeah. And when he leaves the convenience store, he still is not at the point of no return. He still could say, well, the guy did pull a bat on me, and I took it from him, and I better store. So, I mean, yeah, a little damage. He's charged with a crime of, like, assault, but, he's not, like, fully in yet. Then he goes to sit down at gangland, as Robert Duvall calls it.
Well, and I think an interesting thing about this is where you could argue about the theme of territoriality. You could argue that in the grocery store, that's where you get your first taste of it, because Michael Douglas is my country, my language. But then you segue where he's over in gangland, and he's sitting on the stoop where these two guys show up, and now they're territorial, and hey, you're trespassing. This is private property, and you have to. You can't even fault them. I mean, yeah, they're pieces of shit, but at the same time, you can't really fault them, because this is someone that is not part of their neighborhood. It's not part of their society, who is trespassed, and they're in, Michael Douglas is in their territory.
Yeah.
And they don't like that. Just as much as, like, and he even makes the comment, I get it. I wouldn't want you guys in my neighborhood either.
Yeah. He puts human logic into it and understands where they're coming from until they want to take the briefcase.
He does. And I think one of the more recent times I saw it, the whole concept of territoriality that everyone in this film has, all the characters that he encounters on his journey, as it were.
Robert Duvall, Prendergast, cop, question his worth. He's sacrificing his career by taking an early retirement to make his grieving wife, from their dead child, happy.
Well, too, I feel terrible for Duvall's character because his wife is an absolute emotional disaster. They are grieving the loss of their child, but she's also going through menopause. She's making some major changes, and she's not dealing well with it. And on top of that, Pendergrass is he's not the hero cop. He's definitely ridiculed. He's not respected by his peers. He's definitely not respected by his captain.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that he mirrors Michael Douglas's character, where
absolutely
we're talking about two guys that just don't get the respect that they feel they deserve. And in Robert Duvall's character's case, absolutely, he does deserve that respect. But I don't know. I almost feel like they're mirror image in a way.
Absolutely. He's done everything right. And, when, they're talking about the thing with SIDS, that happens to infants, and he even says, she was a healthy child at this point. Why? Yeah. It's very, what has he done except try to, be a good police officer?
Yeah. Again.
And, what does he have if he doesn't have the police force? That's it. And I want to talk about Barbara Hershey as Beth.
Okay.
I don't like Beth.
You don't like Beth?
I don't like Beth.
Hold on. Yeah, Barbara Hershey's ex-wife character, Beth. She was a victim. They don't come out and say in the film, and when she's talking to the police officers later, it's not that Michael Douglas's character beat her, but he was I think there's some intimidation, some emotional neglect, and you can tell just in the movie, she talks about him having violent tendencies, even though he never did anything. She saw it, and when they talk to his mother, when they're at his mother's house and investigating, you get the sense that anyone that knows this guy has been walking on eggshells their entire existence around him because they're terrified of him. He is a time bomb waiting to go off.
Yeah, but
why don't you like Beth? What's going on?
Because she, like you said, she can't give an exact, situation where he full on threatened her. She has a restraining order against him because he gets mad sometimes. I think that's just maybe a little too far. How about Will, you need to go to therapy, or you need to take anger management classes. A restraining order? It's a little harsh, I think.
I think everything you need to know about their marriage sums up in the 10 seconds you see of that video he's watching towards the end of the movie, where it's like the little girl's birthday party, and he's videotaping, and the girl's crying because she doesn't want to get on the little horse ride or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And his fantasy of the perfect life is getting upended just in that moment.
Yeah.
And he's snapping. He's like, put her on the goddamn horse. And that tight shot of Barbara Hershey's face in the video, you could see she's terrified. She's upset. She's terrified. I can't believe you don't like her.
I just didn't see enough evidence to constitute a restraining order.
Well, look.
Obviously, he does lose it eventually, but at that point, I don't know if he deserved a restraining order. But
I would say there was probably, again, thinking beyond the scope of the movie, there was probably some stuff going on in the relationship that warranted him being away, from them. And, to her credit, Beth, she defiantly even tells him when he does start talking on the phone, hey, you can't come here. I pay the rent on this house now. I'm taking care of things.
Does she actually say she's paying the rent?
She does. She absolutely does.
Okay,
yeah.
Then that changes my opinion about something, because they live in one of the prime real estates of Los Angeles.
This is Santa Monica, right?
Venice.
Venice?
Venice
Okay.
Beach in walking distance to the beach and the pier. I mean,
Yeah.
if she's paying the rent, she must do extremely well for herself, or his alimony checks are gigantic. I have no idea.
Well, there are no alimony checks because he doesn't have a job. Remember,
Yeah,
he's been laid off. He
for a month.
has no employment. Yeah, when he's sitting in Gangland, you can see he uses the classifieds that he's circled jobs. You get the idea he's been on the job hunt for some time.
I didn't see that. I didn't
Yeah.
notice.
The newspaper he uses to stuff his shoe, that hole in his shoe.
Mhm.
And by the way, can we talk about that for a split second? It's a great shot. Don't get me wrong. I like Schumacher's that close shot where there's the close up of the shoe with the hole and you see Michael Douglas's eye. What the fuck happened to his shoe to cause a? I mean, I would assume that a 50 caliber machine gun put a round through that thing because it's like you could easily drop a golf ball through that. I don't know what he stepped on or stepped in or what happened, but that's one hell of a hole in that shoe. But anyway, regardless, he stuffs it with some newspaper, and the newspaper that he uses is the classified ads where he's circled job applications.
Yeah, and then you have Rachel, and I hope I'm saying this right, Tikutin.
I couldn't tell you.
From Total Recall.
Total Recall.
A couple other things. At first when I first saw this movie, back when it came out, I kind of thought that her character was a little bit of a throwaway. But I realize now she's Prendergast's conscience.
I think her performance in this movie, a very underrated performance in a slightly underrated film, but
yeah.
I think she tells you a lot about their relationship, just in her physicality around Robert Duvall. You can see that they have definitely had a long partnership. I kind of get the idea that she was a rookie. That was sidled up with him. She learned a lot from him, and they've got whether it's a father-daughter bond or just a friendship type bond, brother sister, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
they're definitely. This is like his work wife. He's the work husband, and she's definitely not happy to be losing him. Especially, do you remember the guy that they kind of infer that is going to become her new partner? The guy's a total douchebag.
And they never can tell. Like, is that going to be her partner? Is that her boyfriend?
No, I don't think it's a boyfriend.
Unclear.
I don't think it's a boyfriend. I think it's going to be her new partner.
Yeah.
And the guy, I almost feel like Joel Schumacher told this guy. And no offense to the guy that played the role, because you don't want to like him. You're not supposed to like this guy, but I don't know. It's almost like Joel Schumacher pulled him aside and said, "Hey, listen. I want you to channel every dickhead role that Bill Paxton did in the 80s and kind of try to emulate that." Because that's every time I watch the movie, I'm like, this is the poor man's Bill Paxton trying to be extra douchey. Because we talked about, how Prendergast and Foster kind of mirror each other. Okay, so we talked about there's a hint of racism in their encounter, but you can almost argue that there's a hint of it in Prendergast's first encounter with him, because when he sits down, Chan's character is very excited, he's very anxious, and he's speaking speaking Korean, and Prendergast looks at his fellow detective who's Asian. He says, "What's he saying?" And the guy point blank says, "Well, I don't know because I'm not Korean. Yeah. I'm Japanese." And I feel like, and there's that quick shot of Duvall's reaction to that, kind of dismissive in a way, like almost like, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But that's not right. That's not cool, I mean.
But that confirms your point of them being basically mirror opposites of each other. They're almost the same. Yeah,
and where Douglas's character is more aggressive about it, more in your face about it. I don't feel like Robert Duvall's character is inherently racist or discriminatory, and I think it's just ignorance.
Yeah, but that's where we were in 1992.
That's where we're at. You could argue we're still there.
In some ways.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
We go to the drive-by. So
Love this
I'm,
moment.
I'm guessing that by some Pulp Fiction divine intervention, he is missed by all the bullets from the gang members. So it's either some kind of divine intervention or they took the Imperial Stormtrooper class of how to shoot. Because they fucking they hit everything else except him.
Well, to their credit, these are street guys.
Yeah.
They obviously have never been to the range because you're right. They hit pretty much everything but him. But this is not like a movie. This is not like a movie trope where the lead character just happened to get missed. This happens a lot in drive-by shootings. You see a lot of collateral damage, and I think it was even the screenwriter Abby Rose Smith who kind of said, I wish these guys would just take some lessons so they could hit the target and not hit the innocent bystanders that are nearby.
And they do hit innocent bystanders in that scene.
They do. I mean, they mow down like 3 or 4 people, and I love the fact that he doesn't even react in the scene. Yeah. He doesn't even turn around. He's oblivious to it.
And I think in another director's hands, they may not have done that. I think in Schumacher's hand, he's very unapologetic. Be like, yeah, there's gonna be some innocent bystanders killed.
Yeah.
It's because that's what happens in these types of situations.
Well, again, as Michael Douglas's character devolves into this tragedy of a figure.
Yeah.
When you watch the film, I don't know about you. Well, I would believe that. I believe it's the same with you and most normal people. If you were in that situation and you were missed, and you saw people lying down, screaming and shot, you would think you would react and you would go to those people and try and help. And what's going on? How can I help? He walks right past them there. And I think that's a great moment for his character to show he's no longer concerned about society and the people up in society.
So at the drive-by, he gets the guns, but in a way, he still has not done anything completely wrong to where he would be arrested and put to jail forever. Then he goes into the Whammy Burger.
Now he picks up like a gym bag full of assault weapons.
Yes, just like pure luck. But he goes to the Whammy. Now this scene's a little bit more lighthearted. No one's hurt.
Everyone has been in this situation.
Everyone. It is an attack on false marketing, which we have all fell victim to. It's a fun scene of more of, hey, I would have loved to say the exact same thing.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in a Chick-fil-A just craving that little chicken biscuit, that little breakfast chicken biscuit.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 minutes late or I'm 4 minutes late, and I'm like, fuck. Man, I know how he feels when he wants his breakfast at Whammy Burger.
Well, I mean, in that scene, he is speaking for the general public.
He is, and you've been in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
We've also, you and I both, in retail, have been on the other side, and where the manager Rick is like, that's our policy, and Douglas is like, hey, haven't you ever heard the customer's always right? He's like, yeah, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You appreciate if you've never worked in fast food or you've never worked in retail.
Yeah.
You don't see Rick as a hero in this moment. You just see him as a dick that's keeping your breakfast from you. But for all those people out there that have had the guy walk in and say, whoa, I want the goddamn breakfast. You're just like, fuck off, dude. Just get out.
Yeah.
So I appreciate Rick as the manager of the Whammy Burger, but maybe his customer service could use some brushing up.
Definitely could use corporate at Whammy Burger needs to get on him.
That's the thing, Michael. 9 times out of 10, Michael Douglas's character is just going to ask for the district manager, or they're going to call the corporate office, and they're probably going to get a Whammy Burger coupon or a free sandwich. But unfortunately for Rick, this is the day that Michael Douglas decides to pull out a bag full of assault weapons.
Yeah, wrong day.
And can I say something real quick, Brad? Because I know you, like me, you're a Hitchcock fan, and I love the fact that the minute he gets any opposition at the counter, there's that close shot where he just drops the bag down. They don't know what's in that bag, but the viewer does know what's in that bag, and you're like, oh my God, this is about to get very ugly, because you've already, at this point, you saw what happened in the Korean grocery store. You've seen what happened with the gangbangers, and now this, and it's coming.
Yeah.
When he
this
pulls
is
out
a guy
that
that's packing now.
Yeah.
So, and before he goes into Frederick Forrest's shop, he comes across actor Vonnie Curtis Hall, who is outside of a bank protesting with a sign saying that he is not economically viable. And when you look at Vonnie Curtis Hall, he is dressed full on the exact same way that Will Foster is dressed. The white tie, even the tie is the same. The shirt,
the same white shirt. Yeah,
they're the same people.
Again, and this is a very important moment in the film. It's such a small scene and it's such a small role, but it's so important because it shows, it proves the point. This is not just a problem for Michael Douglas's character.
Oh.
This is a problem for America, because the middle class at this point in time after the Cold War, as we enter the 90s, the middle class is slowly disappearing. The rich are becoming super rich, and the people that are poor become the ones that are just barely hanging on.
Yeah.
The middle class starts to erase in the early 90s. And this guy, who, again, he did everything right. He has a job, he works, and he's told, by the bank, sorry, we can't give you a loan. You're not economically viable. Yeah. And he doesn't have a bag full of assault weapons. He doesn't have a ball bat. What he does have is his right to protest. And that's short-lived.
Yes, very short-lived.
This is the guy that does it the right way, to get his voice heard and to try to make change. And it doesn't last long. Yeah.
And then Schumacher ups the intensity.
This surplus store guy. Oh wow. What's the guy's name? The actor's name?
Frederick Forrest. So
Frederick Forrest. What have we seen him in?
Well, you get a little reunion of Apocalypse Now, because he is Chef from Apocalypse Now, as is Duvall is Kilgore. So mini Apocalypse Now reunion, even though they don't share any screen time.
They don't share the scene, but that's a shame. I was trying to figure out where I knew him from. Oh man, this guy. And say what you will. The Korean grocer, he could have been a little nicer.
Yeah.
But he's not a bad person, and he suffers the consequences. And I do like the fact that as Michael Douglas continues his trek across Los Angeles to get to his ex-wife's home, some of the characters are getting it as his behavior escalates. The characters that he comes into contact with escalate.
Yes.
We're not going to feel bad about a couple gangbangers getting shot that were trying to rob him and trying to murder him.
They were trying to kill him.
Yeah, and we're definitely not going to feel bad about this Army surplus store guy, because he is a piece of shit.
And I'd say a very uncomfortable scene to watch, with not just the situation itself, but the language being used, the threats, to know that there's this kind of person could be out there.
This person is out there. There's a lot of this person out there.
And once again, the lines of communication are crossed wrongly. I'm like you, and Michael Douglas, no, you are not like me.
He says something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, but I am an American citizen, and you are a sick asshole, or sick degenerate.
He calls him a sick Nazi asshole.
Sick Nazi. Yeah. Well, the guys, you have the homosexual couple that's just minding their own business. They're looking through the store. He antagonizes them. He provokes them.
Mhm.
causes a situation, and you get the idea just on his fascination with Michael Douglas's character when he walks in. He's
Yeah.
been listening to the police scanner radio, so he's been following Douglas's character all morning. He's
Yeah.
been, he's putting the pieces together, kind of like how Prendergast puts the pieces together later. But he just assumes, and he says some really shitty things. He assumes like the whammy burgers full of
Yeah.
full of
He
people he
believes
doesn't care for. He thinks Michael Douglas is like his hero. And
he he believes that Michael Douglas is the start of some sort of race war in this man's mind.
yeah, absolutely.
When he does kill Frederick Forrest,
Yeah.
then is when he becomes the point of no return.
That's when the switch goes off, because I think he takes this guy's admiration and this guy's hey, me and you were the same. Think
Yeah.
about it. I think he takes offense to that, and I think that's where his turning point is, where he's hurt people before. Leading up to this, he's hurt people. He's shot one person, non-fatally, of course.
Mhm.
But this is where I think he hits his point of no return, because he murders the guy.
Yeah. He
And
is no longer Will Foster. He is defense.
Yeah.
Defense. He calls Beth and he tells her he's out of his body right now. He is checked out of reality.
Yeah, and again, we talked about how in the beginning of the movie he's calling her, can't say a word, and then the next time he calls her, he's hey, I just want to come home and give her birthday gift, and she stands her ground. You can't come here. I'll call the police. But now after murdering the guy, he takes on a whole new creepy persona. Like this is the point in the movie where I've been rooting for him, to some extent. I like what I'm seeing. Even when he murders the neo-Nazi, I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy, because he's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
But it's that next scene where he makes that menacing phone call to his ex-wife and kind of starts talking about how he's past the point of no return, like the astronauts on the other side of the moon. And he has that absolutely terrifying moment where she's like, hey, I've got the cops here now, and he's like, oh, put them on. And then even he most that veiled threat where he says, hey, did you know in some countries in South America it's still legal to kill your wife if she offends you? He's gone at that point. He is now the bad guy. He's the villain.
And Douglas says in that conversation on the Blu-ray that he feels that the movie has no protagonist. I think he is the protagonist, but up until this point. Then the roles switch to Prendergast. And he flips. He's not, you know how you hear stories of people like, when they were being attacked, they're like, I just put myself out of my body.
Yeah.
And I feel that's exactly what, he is doing right now. He's just locking out everything and not like checked into reality.
Good.
The highway construction. Who hasn't wanted to do this?
Oh, again, you're cheering for him, because how many times have you been on the highway and there's that 55 mile an hour zone, it's down to one lane, and you're like, there's not a fucking thing wrong with this road. And I think the guy absolutely makes perfect sense when Michael Douglas is like, I know what you're doing. If you don't spend enough money this year in your budget, you won't get the same amount of money.
Yeah.
That's how business works.
Yeah. Do you know how inflation works? Because defense does.
Defense does. And
inflation.
if you're gonna screw it up, then you're actually gonna fix something with that bazooka he's got.
The bazooka is, this is where Schumacher does play it safe. No one is actually hurt in the bazooka explosion, even though there are people right next to where it blows up, innocent construction workers. But you cannot, I don't think you can have anybody be hurt in that scene. The rest of the movie doesn't work if somebody's hurt in that.
It doesn't. And, it's funny because there's a large group of people out there that do see this film almost like a dark comedy in some ways. And I think this scene definitely points to that, because here's a guy who pulls out a rocket launcher and everyone panics. He has no idea how to use it. And I love the fact that the kid comes up on the bicycle and is like, oh, you got to pull that back. Oh, that's right here. And this is because it's the video game generation. This kid knows it.
And he probably saw it in a movie.
And I love that. I love the kid's innocence, where he's like, where the camera's at? What kind of movie are you making? The kid just assumes that he's on a film set. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, it is L.A.
Yeah, so, and again, it is L.A. So it tracks. It does make sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Prendergast for a quick minute. I like the fact that Prendergast starts to come around. He starts connecting the dots between the incidents, and starts to track it down. And you see like his confidence growing. You see his I don't want to say his manhood restoring, but he's becoming alive.
Yeah.
And
it's exciting for him.
Yeah.
It's very exciting for him to be a cop again, to do something worthwhile. He's finding worth in his life again.
Absolutely. And he's taking control again of his situation, where he's even taking abuse from his wife, where she's on the phone in the earlier scenes where she's bawling him out on the phone. And then by the end, when she tries it, he kind of stands his ground and says, "Hey, shut up.
Yeah.
I'll be home when I'm home. I want dinner on the table." And that little grin that Duvall does after that phone call, I love it. It's fun.
I love when Duvall is giddy. Anytime he's giddy, scenes in like Days of Thunder where he's just like giddy and laughing and being goofy. Anytime Robert Duvall's like giddy, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's getting more excited, by screaming defense underneath at the traffic stop, and he knows, and he's just getting more and more. The film is speeding up; it's getting a little bit more faster pace at this point.
Yeah. Now I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about an alternate timeline. Okay. So keep Michael Douglas the same character, right? What happens now? Think about how this movie escalates. It starts off with the fight with the Korean grocer, where he gets the bat, and then from there he fights with the gang members, where he acquires the knife, and then he gets his second encounter, he gets the guns, and then he continues to escalate. When he leaves the army surplus store, he's in full on fatigues. He's got his combat boots on. So my question to you, in an alternate timeline where the grocer gives him change.
Yeah.
Let's assume he goes home, because if that situation doesn't happen, the rest of the movie doesn't happen.
Right.
So you got to wonder, what does he do when he gets home? What does he do when he gets to his ex-wife's house?
At that point, he's a ticking time bomb. I think things would have gone sour even if he wouldn't have gone to the convenience store and gotten the bat. He's not mentally stable at this point. He's hurting inside, but he's a ticking time bomb. He was bound to go off eventually.
So in no reality does this guy have redemption?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Go ahead. Yeah.
And he goes to the pier in full on, or not to the pier, but when he goes to the house in Venice, he's going after him. He's going after Beth.
I think he's made the decision at this point that maybe in the beginning of the film when he's stuck in his car, he doesn't know what he's going to do. But I think at this point, he's on a course. He knows you can clearly see, well, maybe not clearly, but in my opinion, the stage is set for a murder-suicide. He's going to kill. He's going to kill his wife, his ex-wife. He's going to kill his daughter, and then he's going to kill himself. That's kind of how I see it.
There's a great foreshadowing with the squirt gun early on. Kind of again and again. It's like look at this. This is going to come back. This is going to come back. And, you know, when he's finally at the pier, you know, Pendergast, you know, says to him, "Oh, I know what you're going to do. You were going to kill your wife and your child, and you were going to kill yourself and take the easy way out."
Yeah. And, you know, even before Pendergast like reveals himself, you can see he is absolutely gone at this point because he is in fantasy mode. He walks up to her with a big smile, throws his arms around her, gives her a hug, he kisses her, and she's terrified. And he's like, "What? I can't see my wife. I can't see my little girl. Give her a present."
They're at the pier, her
yeah,
favorite place.
Yeah, he's no longer in reality at that point. He's in his fantasy world.
Yeah,
and with the reveal of Pendergast, that's where it all comes crashing down, and he's got to make a choice, I think, at that point.
And I like how Schumacher directs the scene because, you know, he doesn't give Michael Douglas' character is, you know, somewhat, he kind of deserved to do that, you know, full on. Robert Duvall tells him, because you were lied to? Hey, they lie every day. You know, they say like, hey, life has its ups and downs. And that brings me to the title of the film, Falling Down. You know, they talk about the London Bridge is falling down all the time.
Yeah, in the movie, yeah, Pendergast does.
Both Prendergast and Will Foster are in the process of their down phase. They're falling down. Now, Prendergast does the right thing and gets back up.
Yeah, finds redemption.
Defense never gets back up. And if he was able to get back up from falling down, he would see that there is, you know, some redemption. But he's not able to do that. He's not able to get back up. He stays down the entire time.
I think one of the things you got to give him credit, though, and what makes him such a dangerous individual is the fact that he did have a plan. You know, he was going to go take care of his family and live that fantasy world in his life, in his head, for as long as he was going to be alive. But he immediately switches gears and finds a way that he could do something right for his family with the insurance money.
Yeah.
When he more or less he calls out Prendergast and says, "I got a gun. You know, let's draw." And you know Prendergast doesn't want to do it. I mean, Prendergast already has the gun on him. And just that moment when he pulls for it, I love the fact that Schumacher thinks to put that shot in where Prendergast wipes his face.
Yeah.
So, and because that moment, that happy moment that Michael Douglas's character has, where he says, "I would have got you."
Yeah.
You know, he dies. I feel like he dies happy, knowing that he won the showdown, and more importantly, he finally provided for his family. His wife and his ex-wife and his little girl are going to be provided for because, you know, he's dead, and the insurance money is going to be there for him. So,
which brings me to that question of, did he need to die?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and Robert Duvall's character does what any good person, what any good cop's going to do in this situation, and say, you know, hey, you got a lot to live for. You know, you don't want to watch your little girl grow up. And Douglas immediately is like, from prison bars? Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, and again, he's in prison. He can't do anything for the family then.
No.
So I think I don't want to say he makes the sacrifice, like a heroic sacrifice. I just think he takes the best option he has.
It's the only option
it's his only option at that point.
It's his only option to give his family something.
Yeah, if he can't have them with him forever, which I think would have been his murder-suicide plan, then he can at least provide for them forever if he chooses to die.
You know, I mean, this is a man that makes missiles for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, the psychological, effect that can have on someone is, it can really definitely mess up somebody.
He's an all or nothing individual.
Yeah. And I mean, so the basis of the film is that it's not a. I don't. This film could not be made today.
You don't think so?
No, no way. Absolutely.
Tell me why.
Well, with putting aside what is actually going on in the country right now. So pre-pandemic, I still don't think you can make this today.
You know, it's funny you say that though, because in the audio commentary, they talk about how this was a very risky play for Warner Brothers. It had been passed over several times. Schumacher, knowing that, in his own words, quote unquote, begs for the job because he knows he can make a great film. And because he's friends with Michael Douglas, I think Douglas was his producer on one or more films of his.
Okay.
Douglas he goes to Douglas's house in Santa Barbara because Douglas at this point had had the idea that he was going to take a year or two off from working, and he sells him on the idea, and Douglas likes it so much he foregoes his, and they know they're on a shoestring budget, and the company, the Warner Brothers, isn't really willing to give them a whole lot to do this because it's so risky. Michael Douglas works for scale on this movie.
I didn't know that.
Foregoing his normal fee, he works for scale, and that gives them the ability to do a lot of the shots that they do, and he kind of bumped the budget up, so to speak, by taking less money.
Yeah,
because it was a risky thing, like you said. It'd be risky to make it now. Well, it was risky in 1992, 1993 to do it as well.
And they had to stop filming because of the first LA riots.
The LA riots were going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I remember that as the movie came out and being like, it was like, wow, did they film this as the riots are going on? Because this, thinking back, it was, wow, it's around the same time. Yeah, it was. They had to shut down for a little while to let that kind of stuff pass by.
This movie probably a product of its time, probably doesn't get made by
It's a risky
standards.
movie. It's a very risky movie, not for just 92, but I think just in general. And, that's the reason that we do this podcast, is to let people know that, yeah, there are these great directors, but they've got some movies that they kind of put all in that need just as much attention as some of their big hits.
I don't want to glamorize the violence of this film, but can you make this movie today? Probably not. Could this be an absolutely kick-ass video game? You better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy the Falling Down video game in a second.
Just for the whammy burger scene, basically.
Yeah.
But it's, I guess you would almost say it's a little bit of a taboo or touchy subject type of film because of, like I said, the violence in it, the racial profiling, the stereotypical profiling. There's a lot in there that is picked at to where you say, yeah, there are some people like this, but not everybody.
Well, yeah, you're right. This movie is a checklist of hot button topics.
Yes.
And it checks the whole box. It checks every box.
Is every person that's on a golf course a mean, rich, old man who?
Yes. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I would never say that.
But that it's just elements. It's like, okay, this is just one element, and plain and simple, the fact is, like, this is not what should have been done. This is just one man's response. It may not be the right response. It's definitely not, but it's just his response, and they're showing that. And I think that's what makes the film such a risky take, because it's not a happy film. It's a movie with action in it, but it's not an action adventure movie with a hero, triumphing, over evil. It's a different type of film.
Yeah. And you mentioned the golfers. The one golfer, he's a nice guy. The other he's a total cock.
Yeah.
But with the whole territoriality, that guy, why the fuck do I pay my dues? He's on my golf course. When Michael Douglas is trying to cut across the golf course and the guy takes a shot at him with a Titleist, everyone in this movie that has an encounter is very territorial of their area, whether it's a street in in gangland, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's trying to protect what they feel is theirs.
Yes, absolutely. And, that's irrelevant just as much today as it was in 1992.
Yeah.
And now my question to you is, could this be made as a Western?
You're not going to believe this. And I was kind of hoping that you were going to ask this question. I know you're a fan of the genre. As it turns out, so let me first off say yes. And the main reason I'm saying yes is because I'm just going to go ahead and agree with Joel Schumacher. So in the audio commentary, Joel Schumacher, and I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, oh, Brad's going to love this. Joel Schumacher calls this movie a Western akin to something along the lines of High Noon, because you've got a villain tearing up the town, and the old sheriff has to have one last showdown before hanging up his guns. And I think that's the perfect analogy of what Falling Down is between these two guys, Foster and Prendergast. They are on a collision course with each other, and it's almost like a race to the end to see who's going to win, who's going to claim their manhood, who's going to get that American dream that they feel they're entitled to. So yeah, I absolutely I could see Falling Down as a Western. Let me ask you a question as we wrap up. Michael Douglas, one of the best lines that he has, and it's in every trailer. It's on some of the and back in the day when it's playing at the theater, you'd see it on some of the playbills. He point blank asks Prendergast, "Am I the bad guy?" Mm-hmm. And he says it with such confusion and heartbreak in his voice, because to this point he's assumed he is the good guy for the whole movie. Now, my question to you is, given the fact that he does a lot of things that we secretly want to do in everyday life, is he the bad guy, Brad?
A little bit of yes and no. I mean, his intentions, I think, are in the right mode, but his actions are in the wrong mode. He has a good motive of, we need to make, he just basically wants to make the world a safe, better place. But his actions that he takes to get those are what is wrong. And that constitutes making him the bad guy. I still believe he is the protagonist of the film, because I feel after that, when he learns that I'm the bad guy, the job of the protagonist is to overcome something or to learn something. And I believe that the character of Will Foster did learn something. And at that point, he is no longer defense. He's back to Will Foster when he makes that sacrifice for his family.
Okay.
But I mean, I think it's just it's a different film. It's not your normal everyday film. And it's got, it does have fun. You're right. It does have funny moments in it. It's got funny lines. It's a serious movie.
Closing thoughts, Brad.
Closing thoughts. I mean, this, even though I don't know how well the film did for Joel Schumacher, but it definitely gave him his next string of films were, The Client, Batman Forever, Time to Kill, Batman and Robin. String of films that were hits. I like Joel Schumacher. I like what he has done with movies. He goes from lighthearted St. Elmo's Fire to horror like Lost Boys. He can go back and forth. So, and I don't know if this film would have been the same in anyone else's hands. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Well, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how well this film did. So you're talking about $25 million budget. That's estimated, of course. And it does just over 40 million. Okay. That's its gross. So is it a success for Schumacher? I think no when it came out, but this is one of those movies that definitely achieved cult status. Definitely got him some respect, among his peers and in in the industry because, as you said, he does move on to get some very large jobs. He takes over the Batman franchise from Tim Burton.
Mhm.
He's got The Client. So he does some great things.
Yeah.
Do
you think he's done?
Do I think he's done?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this with Ridley Scott. First off, I'll say I don't want him to be done.
No one wants that.
But at the same time, you gotta think about it. At this point, he's 81 years old. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah. Schumacher born in 1939. And he hasn't done anything since 2013. He did I don't know if you were familiar with the House of Cards.
Yeah, that was the most
Netflix
recent thing I saw. A couple episodes of that.
Yeah. So, do I think he's got something left? He's been on a 7-year break. I would question
probably
if he's doing anything else. I would like to see him do something else. I don't know. Let's talk. Think about it real quick. This guy's done the superhero blockbuster. He's done the hot topic or hot button topic film like Falling Down and A Time to Kill. He's done the feel good stuff. He's done the creepy stuff with Flatliners and The Lost Boys. So my question to you, Brad, he makes one more movie. What genre do you want to see him tackle?
I would like to see him do something to where another crazy what if type of film.
What if type film. So
like a crazy what if. Flatliners is a crazy what if. The plot to A Time to Kill is murder justified if it's two people that sexually molested your daughter? These are hot, like you said, hot topics to talk about. I would like to see something like that.
Crazy what if for you.
Yeah. A crazy what if.
What if, and I know this is crazy, what if he does a follow-up, he does a sequel to his 1983 feature, DC Cab, with Mr. T. And Gary Busey. Let's get Busey and Mr. T back together for a DC Cab 2.
You wouldn't
even. Is that crazy enough? Is that crazy enough for you?
That's crazy enough to where you could say, don't even write a script, just let them go. Just let them go and do their thing.
You know what? I would watch it. I'm not ashamed to say that.
All right, we're wrapping up Film by Podcast with Joel Schumacher's 1993 film Falling Down. We'll be back on the next episode, and thanks everybody for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you next time.